This shocking and unforeseen decision made by King Charles has sent seismic waves through the palace, leaving Queen Camilla stunned and speechless. How did it come to this? What could have possibly led to such a bold, dramatic, and heart-wrenching move by the king? More importantly, how does this shift in royal protocol affect the intimate relationship between the king and queen consort, and what implications could this have on the future of the monarchy? Let's take a deep dive into the heart of this royal drama and uncover the hidden details that led to this astonishing decision. When news of King Charles's decision to exclude Queen Camilla from his will broke, it sent shockwaves through both the palace corridors and the global media. The man who had spent decades fighting for her love, who had weathered public scorn, criticism, and scandal to be by her side, had now made a decision that left even the most seasoned royal observers dumbfounded. Why would the king, who has always proclaimed Camilla as his greatest support, leave her out of one of the most important documents of his legacy? It seemed incomprehensible, even tragic, that such a monumental decision would come from someone who owed much of his emotional stability to her unwavering loyalty. But let's take a step back to understand what might have led to such a dramatic shift in their relationship. Could it be a simple misunderstanding? Or was it a reflection of a deeper, more complex tension brewing behind the walls of Buckingham Palace? While the rest of the world may have been caught off guard by the news, those close to King Charles and Queen Camilla had already begun to notice the subtle signs of a growing divide between them. Their once passionate and unshakable bond, which had been the cornerstone of their relationship for decades, had begun to fray. Insiders within the royal household began to whisper about a palpable rift developing between the two. This tension, once unspoken, had now reached a level where it was starting to threaten the very foundation of their marriage. The source of this tension? King Charles's relentless pursuit of duty and his unyielding sense of responsibility towards the monarchy. For someone who had waited his entire life to wear the crown, his commitment to its preservation and visibility was paramount. The problem, however, was that this intense focus on royal responsibilities had begun to take a toll on his health and, by extension, on his relationship with Camilla. The royal duties that came with ascending to the throne were demanding enough, but for a man in his mid-70s who was battling cancer, it became an almost insurmountable burden. His chemotherapy treatments, combined with an increasingly grueling royal schedule, were stretching him to the breaking point. Despite his deteriorating condition, Charles refused to slow down. He was determined to uphold the monarchy and prove that he was fit to lead no matter the personal cost. Camilla, having been by his side through thick and thin, watched this dangerous behavior unfold with growing concern. She had always been his most trusted advisor, the one person who could speak frankly with him without fear of retribution. But lately, it seemed as though her concerns were being met with cold indifference. This wasn't just a small disagreement, it was a full-blown crisis. As Charles's health worsened, Camilla's worry deepened, and the emotional toll of seeing her husband push himself to his limits was starting to take a significant emotional and physical toll on her as well. The breaking point came during a seemingly harmless holiday to Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Charles had just undergone another round of chemotherapy and was already showing signs of exhaustion. Yet, instead of resting and recovering, he chose to immediately abandon the planned rest at Balmoral to attend to royal duties in Southport, a town that had been rocked by a horrific tragedy. His decision to leave so abruptly stunned everyone, including Camilla, who had begged him to take a break and prioritize his recovery. Camilla's frustration reached a boiling point. She had spent years trying to be the supportive wife, the one who stood by him when others turned their backs. But now, in the face of his declining health, she felt helpless. She begged him to slow down, to take a step back, a source revealed. But Charles's response was as firm and uncompromising as ever. There's no point being king if you're not going to act like one. For Camilla, this response felt like a slap in the face. She had always been his partner, his rock, yet now she felt as though she had become nothing more than an afterthought. The emotional weight of the situation was immense, and it was clear that the once solid partnership between Charles and Camilla was beginning to fracture under the strain. The emotional turmoil reached its peak when it was revealed that Charles had excluded Camilla from his will. For a woman who had stood by him through decades of controversy, public humiliation, and personal loss, this move felt like the ultimate betrayal. Sources close to the couple confirmed that the decision had been brewing for months, And while Camilla had been blindsided, those within the palace who knew the inner workings of the royal family weren't as shocked. King Charles had made it clear that his primary focus was securing the future of the monarchy, and in his eyes, this meant passing on his wealth and legacy to his heirs, Prince William and his children. The shock of this decision left Camilla speechless. How could a man she had dedicated her life to, a man she had supported and stood by through thick and thin, now leave her out of his legacy? The feeling of betrayal was overwhelming. It was like a slap in the face, an insider shared. Camilla had fought for her place in the royal family, and now, after everything, she was being pushed aside in favor of securing a future for Prince William and his family. This decision wasn't made lightly, of course. King Charles had always been fiercely protective of Camilla. But the pressures of maintaining the monarchy's integrity and ensuring that the royal bloodline remained unbroken had led him to this decision. He had no choice but to place the future of the monarchy above his personal desires. As queen consort, Camilla holds an essential role in the royal family, but her place is intrinsically tied to Charles's reign. If the unthinkable were to happen and Charles's health took a sudden turn for the worse, Camilla would be left with the title of Queen Dowager, a role that signifies respect but not power. This harsh reality is something that Camilla has had to come to terms with, and it has fueled much of the tension between her and Charles in recent months. Camilla's position within the monarchy has always been a delicate one. Having fought her way from being the other woman to the queen consort, she now finds herself on the precipice of losing it all. If Charles were to pass away, the throne would immediately pass to Prince William, and Camilla would be relegated to the role of a widow, an icon of royal history, but no longer a decision-maker. Adding another layer of intrigue to the already complex situation is the royal villa scandal. Camilla's bold decision to seize control of the historic estate, defying royal protocol and tradition, has further strained her relationship with Charles. The royal villa had been a place for family gatherings and royal events for generations, and by claiming it as her own, Camilla violated the very traditions that the monarchy had always upheld. This act, though seemingly innocuous, sent shockwaves through the royal family, most notably with Princess Anne, who was deeply displeased by Camilla's actions. Anne, who had once publicly praised Camilla for her role in the monarchy, now found herself at odds with the queen consort. The controversy over the villa was one of the key factors that led to the breakdown of trust between Camilla and Charles, eventually culminating in his decision to leave her out of his will. When Charles finally sat down with Camilla to explain his decision, the conversation was tense and filled with emotion. "It's about the future of the monarchy," he said, attempting to justify his actions. But for Camilla, the pain was palpable. She had always thought of herself as his partner, but now, it seemed as though the king was turning his back on her. The years of loyalty, sacrifice, and love seemed to mean nothing in the face of his relentless pursuit of duty. As King Charles continues to battle his health issues, and as the weight of the monarchy bears down on him, it's clear that the future of the royal family is uncertain. Prince William and Kate Middleton are already preparing for the inevitable transition, and while Camilla's role as queen is secure for now, the question of what comes next for her once Charles passes is one that she will have to grapple with. Will she fade into the background, relegated to the role of a widow with no power? Or will she find a way to maintain her influence within the monarchy, even in the absence of her beloved Charles? As this royal drama continues to unfold, one thing is certain: the monarchy will never be the same again. Stay tuned for more updates, as this royal saga continues to captivate the world.